Hello and welcome to my channel and to this video where we're going to be doing a review of my time as an artist in 2024, and I'm going to be setting myself some art goals for 2025. I was in two minds about whether or not I was actually going to do this video this year because my goals kind of went out the window in January and I've not really done very much to achieve them this year. In fact, I had to rewatch the video from last year just to remind myself what they were, which kind of shows you how off track I got with that. So I wasn't sure if I was going to make this video, but I decided that I would do it anyway because I do want to set some goals for next year. And it's also a good time just to reflect on why those goals didn't happen and what I could maybe do to improve things next year. And being an artist is a mixture of highs and lows, and I think it's still good to talk about the struggles as much as it is to talk about the successes. So here we are. Now, my goals for last year were to paint more original paintings, to promote my work as actually being for sale, to establish a proper working week for myself where I would work 5 days a week, 9 to 5. I wanted to make a new YouTube video every other week, I think, and I wanted to create more reels. I think by the time I got to that last point, I was probably running out of ideas. So it wasn't the best goal, but those were the 5 goals that I started out with. And if you want to see any more detail about that, then there's the video that I made on this subject last year. So if you want to watch that for some background, you can do. But I'm going to go into those in a little bit more detail in this video, talk about why I didn't achieve most of them, and then try and set some better ones for next year. So what happened this year? Well, at the end of last year, I was really excited for 2024 and all of the things I wanted to achieve as an artist, and I couldn't wait to get started. And then January rolled around and it just didn't really get going. Life got in the way a little bit and I struggled to find the time to paint. I wasn't as motivated as I was in December, so I wasn't really doing that much with the business. And then in April this year, I got a part-time job, which is 4 days a week. And that has meant there's been significantly less time to paint. So from that point onwards, painting was just kind of fitted in whenever I had the opportunity, and the goals just went out the window. The most important thing for me was just trying to find the time to paint in the first place. And I do have a video on that if you want to see some of the things I did to try and fit the painting around my job. But it did mean that those goals weren't really relevant anymore. And so I kind of just forgot about them. But we're remembering them now, so we're going to go over them one at a time and very briefly discuss them. We're going to start with number 1. So my first goal on the list was to paint more original paintings, and I did this. But it did make me think about the fact that that probably wasn't a great goal to set anyway, because it wasn't that difficult to achieve. Honestly, if I'd have just painted one original painting, I would have achieved that goal. So I should probably reflect on that for 2025 goals. But I did paint more original paintings. I didn't paint as many as I would have liked as a result of the extra job, but I did do some, so that's a bonus. At the start of the year, I spent a little bit of time painting in watercolour and painting in acrylic because I found that that was a little easier to work around the new job. And then I got back to oils again, and I decided to do a series of wildlife paintings and landscape paintings, and I was going to do 10 of them. I did 4, which shows the struggle I was having trying to balance what I wanted to do, but I am pleased that I managed to do 4. This is one of them that I still have. And all of those paintings were done onto 6x6 inch panels. And this is the last remaining one, and it's of some gannets on a cliff top. I also did some original paintings a little later on in the year. There was a bit of a gap, and then I came back to it late summer, beginning of autumn, and I started doing some more original paintings, mostly for YouTube. I have a selection here. This one I have not yet made a video about. I have filmed parts of it, but we've not done the video yet. I did a painting on this little copper disc. of a tiny landscape. We have painted sea lions. That was for a YouTube video, and I did a tutorial on mushroom painting, tiny owl, and a tiny crested tit, which was also for a YouTube video. So I have painted quite a few originals, and I started painting some more birds as part of a new original series. I've only painted one of those so far, but I'm hoping to do a bit more of that in the new year. So I have painted original paintings, but not as many as I would have liked. The fact that I can recall most of them probably shows that I didn't paint as many as I would have liked, but I did paint some. So my second goal was to promote the work as actually being for sale, because I had noticed last year that I did have a problem with advertising the work that I was doing, which is obviously an issue if you want to do this as a business. And so I did try and make more of a point of doing that this year, especially with the original paintings at the start of the year. When I put those on social media, I would put a price with them and the size and how to contact me if anyone was interested. And of the original 4 paintings that I did earlier in the year, 3 out of the 4 sold, and that garnet painting I just showed you is the last one. So I would say that probably worked pretty well. It's hard to judge when you've just really done 4 paintings, but 3 of the 4 sold, and I did advertise them, so I think that gets a little bit of a tick as well. Where that goal fell short was after that initial push, I didn't really try harder to sell the unsold one afterwards. That's just been sitting on a shelf and it's not advertised anywhere, and it's not on my Etsy shop. So because it didn't sell in that first round of putting the picture on social media, it just kind of got forgotten about. So I definitely failed on that side, but still 3 out of 4 is 75%, so I'm pretty happy with that. As for commissions, I didn't really advertise them this year because I didn't know if I would have the time to finish them, so I didn't promote that very much. I did do a little bit of it at the end of the year just because I wanted people to know the last date they could order something in time for Christmas, and when I posted about that on social media, that did lead to extra sales, so I think that kind of worked as well. And if I tried to do that throughout the rest of the year, that probably would give me a little bit of a boost in sales. So for the first 2 goals of this year, I kind of think I achieved them, even if it was at a slightly less intense rate than I thought when I was setting those goals. I still think we can tick those off because things did improve. However, the goals beyond that didn't really go very well. The third goal on the list was to establish a proper working week for myself, to work 9 to 5, 5 days a week, so that I would have a proper routine for my artwork. And obviously that didn't happen. I got another job, which is 4 days a week, and the 2 things are not compatible. So I ended up just ignoring that. It would be nice to do that in the future and to establish proper hours for my artwork, but right now it's all about just finding a balance. So I think we can just cross that one out and we can move on to the next. For my 4th goal, I wanted to create a YouTube video every other week. And again, that didn't happen. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you will notice that there's been a lack of YouTube videos this year. I started to do a few more towards the back end of the year, but through spring and summer, there really wasn't anything. And that definitely took a hit as a result of having a regular job as well. I didn't do as many as I would have liked, but now I'm starting to find a balance between the 2 jobs, and I'm hoping to create a few more. But yes, that definitely wasn't a goal that I was able to achieve this year. And the 5th goal on the list was to create more reels. It wasn't the most inspired goal. I think I just wanted to round it up to 5 goals, and so I just tagged something onto the end, but it wasn't really something I was that excited about. It was something that I wanted to try and do. And again, I didn't really create that many because I didn't paint that much. It's hard to make reels if you're not painting anything. So I did try and do a little bit more earlier in the year when I was painting my original wildlife paintings. I did try and film more video footage so that I could create reels. And I think that helped reach a few more people, but honestly, I've just not done it enough to really see if there was any significant change with that one. So it's kind of a wishy-washy goal. I did make some more reels, but I don't really have very much to say about it. Wasn't the most interesting goal to start with, so we can probably write that one off as well. So before we move on to the goals for 2025, I thought I'd talk a little bit about my reflection on the goals that I set for myself and how things went, because I realized that there were a few issues with those goals that should be addressed before we move forwards. And the first was that the goals themselves, I think, could be a little bit better and a little bit more ambitious. Maybe they can reflect what I would like to achieve as an artist in my career, rather than just being quite small goals. Like painting original paintings is a good thing to try and do, but it's not that difficult to achieve. So maybe they could be expanded on, and I want to start to use these to really start pushing my business forward and take it to the next level, rather than just having these arbitrary goals like create some more reels, which might be nice to do, but it's not really pushing things in the right direction. So I want to try and make some more refined, specific goals that will really help me to take this business where I want it to go. The second thing that I've realized about this is that I need to remind myself of these goals. They need to be a much bigger part of my day-to-day life. I don't just want to make them today and then not think about them again until 12 months time when I'm making this video again in 2025. I want them to be a proper part of my everyday routine, and I want them to inform what I actually decide to do as an artist in this business and actually make use of the goals, not just set them for the sake of setting them. So I want to come up with a couple of goals and break them down and decide what I need to do every month or every week or even every day to work towards those longer term goals. And to go alongside that, I've also realized that it's important for goals to be flexible. Obviously, my circumstances changed this year, which meant that my original goals weren't really achievable, especially things like having a consistent 5-day-a-week job as an artist. That isn't really compatible with having a 4-day-a-week job as something else. So I needed to be able to refine those goals to reflect my new circumstances, and I didn't, which is why I spent the rest of the year kind of ignoring them. I would like my goals to be more a part of what I'm doing. It kind of goes along with the second point. I want them to be in the forefront of my mind all the time, so that if things do change, if I change jobs or if my circumstances change, then I am able to adapt to that new circumstance, and my goals can adapt as well. So with all of that in mind, I am only giving myself 2 goals for 2025. I'm not making 5 just for the sake of making 5, because then I'll just be coming up with random things again that are not really relevant. I'm going to come up with 2 big goals, and then those can be broken down so that I can be working towards those throughout the year. And those 2 goals are, number 1, I would like to have my work in a gallery by the end of the year, which is something that scares me a little bit. The idea of approaching galleries and having a body of work that could go into a gallery, and I know there's a lot of work to do before I'm at that point, but I need to be thinking bigger, and I need to be thinking about how I want to progress my career. So that's goal number 1, my work in a gallery by the end of 2025. And my second goal is to be monetized on YouTube by the end of 2025. Those are the big things, and then they're going to be broken down into some smaller tasks that will help me achieve the big things. So for the gallery goal, that's going to be broken down into little pieces. So first of all, I need to really practice my painting and really refine my skill to get it to the stage where I feel I can go to a gallery and try and get my work seen in one of them. I also need to research galleries to figure out what would be a good fit. I want to look at local galleries and those further afield to see what kind of work that they do and what kind of artists they work with, to see where my work would likely fit. And I am also going to have to work on a collection of work so that it looks like it belongs together and it could fit into a gallery quite nicely. And I'm thinking to do that, I'm going to focus on bird paintings. I painted a blue tit recently, and I am working on some wood pigeons next. And I'm very excited about that, so I'm thinking that will be my theme, and I'm going to try and put together some work that I can then go to a gallery with and just see how it goes. And you know, who knows, maybe it's successful, maybe it's not, but the point is I want to put myself out there and approach these places and just see what happens by the end of the year. So that is that big goal. So goal number 2 is to have the YouTube channel monetized by the end of the year. And this doesn't have to be anything excessive. Like the minimum amount that you could earn through monetizing the channel would be wonderful. It just feels like a very big milestone to reach. So that is what I like to do by the end of this year. And that again is going to be broken down into some smaller tasks, And I think the first one is going to be have a look at the videos that I've got available and to maybe remove some or change some, because they're a bit all over the place and some of them are not very entertaining. So I think my first task is going to be to tidy things up and then have that as a good basis for which we can build on. I'm going to have a look at the ones that are doing particularly well and maybe use that to inform some of my decisions about how to move the channel forward in the new year. I'm also going to be asking for feedback, which I can start right now. So if you are watching this and you've happened to watch this far, then thank you, first of all. And secondly, if there are any videos that you would like to see on this channel, then leave them in the comments below and I will have a look through them and see if I can come up with any ideas for the new year. I think I'll probably start by doing a bit of a mixture of all sorts and just seeing what works. And I'm going to try and upload a bit more consistently. I'm not going to give myself a target of every other week because I still need to fit this around other work, but I am going to try and put more effort into these videos moving forward and make them more often, and we'll see how it goes. And so those are my 2 goals for the new year, and they're quite big. Getting work into a gallery and being able to earn through YouTube would be wonderful. But I'm very excited to have set myself those goals. I feel like they're a bit more ambitious, and hopefully at the end of 2025 I can sit here and talk to you about how that's gone, and hopefully it's gone well. If you've watched this video all the way through so far, then thank you very much for your support and for watching this. Please let me know if you have any goals that you're setting for yourself. Put those in the comments. I would love to hear what kind of things you're working towards as well. And thank you for watching. Thank you also if you've been watching throughout the year, because I know that my uploading has been very sporadic, but I do appreciate all of your support. Thank you very much for sticking around, and I will see you next time.